in politics a little bit, right? Unfortunately.
Yes.
Well, I don't see politics.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live. Mark Brower and Engelo.
Hello.
Hello.
Good day, everyone.
Sweet.
Mark, I'm not going to drop any F-bombs, but he said, Mark,
Engelo was just accusing me of being a politician, or maybe giving me an aspiration. I don't know. That's an aspiration of mine. Heavens no. Well, it's good to talk with you, mate.
You too.
Thank you.
You too. Way overdue.
Not to appropriate your culture by calling you mate, but that's what you always refer to me as on LinkedIn. So it's been enjoyable getting to know you a little bit.
Mark, rest in peace, Charlie Kirk. I moved to this country knowing free speech is allowed, so you can call me whatever you want to call me, mate, as long as I can do the same in return.
Good. Well, I'd love to hear a little bit. I mean, this is the first time you and I've talked live. It's been a long time coming, and I'm super excited. What are we going to talk about? We can talk about tons of stuff, but what's really on your mind? What's passionate? What are you passionate about? Before we start recording, maybe we'll lean into this a little bit. You just pointed out that I'm sort of leaning into the EOS traction visionary integrator play where I'm trying to hire my COO right now. And you said, been there, done that. Do you want to explain what that's all about?
Yeah, mate, for sure. Happy to kind of dive into it. First of all, love you, mate. Love your newsletters. I feel that I really connect with you on a spiritual basis. They're very deep. Sometimes you piss me off because they're too deep, and I'm like, oh, here we go again. He's on that, universe deepness rant. Not really, but So I've been behind the scenes for a while now. I used to be very prominent. I did a lot of podcasts, a lot of interviews, a lot of events, Ironman and whatnot. So forgive me if I'm a little bit rusty, but I love reading his stuff. I love reading Todd's stuff. I love reading Peter Lohman's stuff, and everyone's got their own different take and opinion, which is great for me. So again, I'm the behind the scenes stalker. Maybe one of you guys will meet me at a conference one day. So just remember this beautiful face if you do. Engelo's
forget it.
Couldn't
forget it if I tried.
Yeah, but look, EOS, been there, done that, had a consultant come on board. We spent around $15,000 to implement it all. I've read Rocket Fuel, I've read Traction, love the principle behind it. It makes a lot of sense. The only thing is why I kind of gave up on it. What happens when your integrator decides to pack up and leave, right? Then you're kind of screwed. Then you've got to start from scratch again. One thing that I did notice with you, mate, just throwing it out there, maybe you've probably even considered this, but I hired my integrator from within. I didn't look at anyone from without. Didn't work out, right? Maybe I should have tried someone from out of the company. But yeah, that's kind of just a long story short. We still at Oz Realty implement a version of Traction per se, but there's no specific level 10 meetings, no quarterly rocks and anything like that. It's just more, we just wing it more. My office manager wings it more. So we still kind of have the baseline for it, but it's not as strict as kind of the books preach.
Awesome. You know what? I'm getting totally distracted because I love your fit. I love the fit. You're rocking this fit. And it's like,
mate, I'm not wearing any pants though. Seriously, you're lucky I've got a shirt on because
oh my gosh, look at this.
I'm
just getting to know you. You're the guy that's walking around the house. You're probably jacked. You walk around the house, muscles out, right? You got the cross on. That's all you got on.
I've got my Aussie Speedos. I don't wear boxer shorts. You do not want to come and visit Residence Remora, I'll tell you that. A cigar in my mouth, a whiskey in the other hand, mate.
There you go. I think I'm picking up the vibe here. So that looks like a linen shirt. It's got this really cool stitching on the collar and down on the sleeve. Well
Judging
done,
you already. See, politician. I told you, mate, as soon as we started.
No, I can't even focus on your words because I'm loving this fit so much. Okay.
Well, you're not too bad yourself, Mark. You're not too bad. You're a beautiful man.
I did the flower paisley blue shirt for you today.
I like it. You gotta let go of this a little bit. Don't be too conservative. Come on, give me a bit of chest. Just mate. You're an ultra marathon runner. You're bloody as they come, mate. You got
people what they want. Today I actually, before leaving my room, I looked at I like wearing hats, and I thought I'm gonna rock a backwards hat today. I'm like, no, I'm going on camera, and I got my fourth meeting with my COO potential hire. I'm going to keep it profesh today. So that's
There
what
you go.
got.
I'm normally always in a little newspaper boy hat, but because I'm talking to you,
Nice.
I'm gonna leave it off, even though I didn't.
Oh, love it, dude. Yep.
Yeah.
See, we showed each other the respect that should come in a meeting like this, and I appreciate that. But I can also take it cash. So, you promoted from within. Now, there's a lot to that. People would say that's the way to do it. You grow your talent from within, and you keep that strong culture. It sounds like it didn't work for you. So you took all the roles back on yourself. And
yes and no. Look, I'm not in the office right now, right? I work from home. So, I love Peter Lohman's Crane Break, take 1 month off. Dude, I was in Europe for 2.5 years. You know what I mean? So maybe I should get an award from Crane for, taking a 2.5 year Crane break. But no, look, I'm blessed, Mark. I'm very, very blessed. I stopped counting at $2 million in losses to employees, contractors, business partners. My former CEO embezzled $250,000. I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on. And I just consider it the cost of doing business. I always take responsibility for certain things like that. Not necessarily extreme responsibility. I know there was a lot of talk about that on LinkedIn and whatnot. Some of it can be a little bit too obsessive. I try and distance myself from the extreme responsibility. But I still like to take responsibility for everything that happens within the company. So again, just going back, I'm blessed. I've got Lana, who's been with me for 11 years. She's nice. My office manager. Like, I trust this woman more than I do my wife, almost. I shit you not, mate, when it comes to the money, when it comes to the company, when it comes to the operation. And that has allowed me to I guess, be able to step out and not have to be present and just focus on the bigger picture and the vision. Is Lana an integrator? Not really. She's more of an office manager. But would I want to step on Lana's toes and get an integrator to scale us to a couple thousand units? Mate, I don't have those aspirations anymore. That's not, I've got a little toddler. I want to spend time with her. Less is more, make what I make, maybe a little bit more. And I'm happy as long as I can smoke my cigar and be in peace, or as much peace as possible. But I love you, mate. You do you, boo. Go for it. I think, again, you're inspirational, mate. I love your content. And
thank you. That's very kind of you.
I hope the CIO works out, mate. I really do. I want to see that for you.
If you've been reading my stuff recently, you know that I've been leaning into this whole performative self-worth thing. Like what is it that really drives us? Like why? Like, am I chasing growth to validate my worth? If so, I've got a shaky foundation, and I'm actually signaling to everybody around me that I'm desperate, because it's not just something I want to do because it's a great idea or to add more value in the world. The reality is it's an existential crisis. I don't matter unless I can point to a number that proves I matter. And by the way, those goalposts are always moving.
Never stops. No, I get you, mate. I guess ego is a big thing when it comes to that too, right? Would you agree?
Of course.
If we take a deeper dive,
of course,
we will satisfy the ego, right?
Well, and I think they're interlinked, because this sense of ego is I'm more than someone else. Maybe it's a comparative.
Or just comparing to someone else, right? I remember reading one of your articles. You're like, I was having a conversation. I felt this kind of, sickening to my stomach because they were wherever they were, and I want to get there, or I'm not there, or they're better at this, and then I feel insecure, whatever it is. I don't know, man. I think I mentioned to you in a few of my email replies, like I've put that aside. I don't really care about anyone or anything else anymore. It's just, I want to be better tomorrow than I was today. So it's about competing with myself. And you know what Gary Vee says, everyone has their own clock. Everyone works on their own time. And no matter how many times you're wrong, as long as you're right once and it counts. Think about that. Let's talk about Mark Zuckerberg. He could have started different companies, right? And they all could have failed. And there's one Facebook. And now all of a sudden, he's ahead of everyone. He's top 10 in the world. So Mark Brower could be behind everyone for the next 5, 10, or 15 years, come up with a great idea, one marketing strategy and whatnot, and poof, you're up to 5,000 units in 4 different markets. So you really don't know when it's going to happen for you. Or God forbid, I've had a lot of friends, and I'm 38, just turned 38 not too long ago. I've had 2 good friends of mine pass away, and then what? What's their growth look like? There is no growth and we're all going to die one day.
I disagree. I think we keep growing after we die, but I think you do too.
Hey, I believe in that too, but in a different way. In a different sphere, dimension, heaven. We believe. I hope we believe in the same God. Maybe, I don't know. I think there's only one.
He's the creator. He's my father. So you just said a lot of things that I think are really important. This idea that, well, maybe Mark Brower 2 years from now finds some marketing strategy and you balloon up, you explode up to 5,000 units. Well, is that meaningful? Does that matter? Should I keep chasing that? And I think the reality is, I want to do the most good with the gifts and talents God has given me. I feel that like it's like an internal driver. It's a calling within me to do the most good with the time, gifts, and talents God has given me, because I want to be able to stand in front of Him someday with confidence and say, I wanted to make you proud, and I did what I could. Right?
Well, Mark, I love it. But what's God's metric? What's the metric to success? Is it money? Is it growth? Is it, what's the metric to success? Like, in my opinion, I think it's all the unseen stuff. It's all the unheard stuff. It's the unheard stuff. It's not this interview right now. It's not the newsletters. It's not growing the company. I think it's, behind the scenes, what we do with people when no one's watching. And if we believe in God, which I do, I think that's the reward that we're going to get one day when we stand in front of God, is what we did when no one was watching. And again, you responded to me via email with what you just said there. I love it. Like for me, mate, to be honest with you, with the little one, I just want to be the best person that I possibly can, the best father. They say, there's a saying, I love the quote, when your hands are empty and you open your arms and your child runs to you, that is the ultimate success.
Oh,
right. So,
I love that. My kids are grown a little bit, yet I have this like this kind of like this a reminiscence of I don't know. I'm sorry to take this on a little bit of a tangent, but this concept, this idea of a child running into a father's arms is so beautiful. It is so beautiful. And all 4 of my kids used to do this. And the sad thing is they don't do this anymore. I mean, youngest is 13. Yeah, maybe she'll do it one more time. But one of the things that I sort of get sad about when I think about this idea is, like, we never know when the last time's going to be in life. We never know when the last time's going to be. We have to take every moment as so precious, because you don't know in advance. If you knew in advance for sure, this is the last time my kids are going to run across the kitchen into my arms right when I walk through that door, it would be such a momentous occasion, but it's not. And here's the other reality. Your kids have one dad. That's it. Like, there is only one person in the entire universe that can have the perishable, extremely important impact that you could have on their lives. So where does that need to rank in terms of priority and impact? And how does God value that impact? I would think it's very high.
In my opinion. Yeah, but so let me throw this out there for you, a curveball. Something that I've always believed in. I've always believed that there's only one mother, but anyone can be a father or a father figure. Let's say, does that make sense? If you think about it, there's a lot of folks that grew up without their fathers for whatever reason, and someone else stepped in, be it a teacher, be it a mentor, be it a business partner, be whoever.
A father figure,
right? That raised them and nurtured them and made them who they are today. Yeah, mate, we're getting very deep here, Mark.
Yeah, it's good. No, this is the stuff we're talking about. So if God had a scorecard, if God was measuring our KPIs, or if we had a dashboard that showed what really mattered, right? Sometimes I think about this, like in our businesses, we have KPIs, we have dashboards, and like, I think what Peter Drucker said, what gets measured gets managed.
That's right.
How do we make sure that we're measuring the right things that puts our energy and time and attention to the most important things? I had Matt Whitaker and Spencer Sutton had me on their podcast earlier this week, and it's dropping on Monday over there at Evernest. And one of the things Spencer said is he journals every morning to remind himself who he is as a person. And I almost feel like that's a little bit, it's not a scorecard, it's not a KPI, but it's an anchor point to what matters most. And if we can extract the worth, if we can separate the worth from what we're doing and have these phantom metrics about how valuable we are as a person, and lean more into reminding ourselves who we are, that feels like it's moving in the right direction. And there's an unusual confidence that comes when we don't need any outcome to validate our value. When we stop needing outcomes to validate who we are, we sort of separate ourselves from this existential crisis of like, I have to prove I matter to myself, to other people. I'm sort of like lying to myself that I really care about what God thinks of me, but I really need the validation from earthly sources.
Yeah.
I'm kind of giving you like a word salad right now. So
no, I get you. I'm keeping up, mate. I'm not pissed off yet. I'll tell you when I'm pissed off. So
All right.
You're good. You're good. Dude, deep stuff. Look, I haven't really gone that deep. Well, I did when I took my sabbatical for a couple of years, man. I spent a lot of time in a dark room. I spent a lot of time meditating, praying, reading, and just trying to find myself in that regard. And then I got to a point where it was just like, okay, I've grasped as much as I could grasp. There's my little one. I grasped as much as I could grasp, but then I just had to stop. Like I had to stop digging because it would have driven me fucking crazy. Excuse my French bomb there, everybody. Or perfect English, the best word ever. No, so I had to stop because let me give you an example, and this is gonna be very deep. Okay, the Big Bang. What is the Big Bang? God. What is God? Who is God? Why the universe? Where does the universe end? How many planets? How big are the galaxies? Right? What's behind the galaxies? What's behind the universe? I went so deep down that exploration hole of who I am, or what am I, or what am I doing here, and what's the purpose of all of this, that I had to stop. Because again, I would have started going to a variety of different thought processes and self-reflection, if you want to call it in that regard. And then I found myself in this: Christianity, Catholicism, Jesus, 1, 2, Stoicism. That's it. That's all I pitch, mate. That's how I live my life based off of that is my Jesus and my Stoics, right? The Ryan Holiday shit, the Seneca, the Marcus Aurelius, the Epictetus, and those guys. And then
tell me about Epictetus.
I don't know. Not much. I don't know too much.
Isn't he the one that said, give me a lever long enough and I'll move the world? Is he the one that said that?
I think so. Not 100% sure.
One of the Stoics was so hardcore about manual labor. Like they insisted on grinding wheat their entire life. It became like a meditation for them.
Yep.
And you know what? I think there's something there. I think the words came to me earlier this week that, becoming who God knows we can become is the job, is the job, is the work. And the job is the side gig. It's like, who are you becoming, when you're reading your son or your daughter a story?
Mm-hmm.
Who are you becoming when you go to the store for groceries? The manual, like routine, like things used to drive me nuts because I'd be like, what is the utility in this? What am I accomplishing? This is such a low level task. It's driving me crazy.
Yeah.
But the Stoics were just, manual labor was almost like a meditation. It was also almost, it was like a sacred thing. It was like a form of worship even.
For example, sorry to interject you, mate, Seneca, right? One of the richest men back in the day. I know a little bit about him, not Epictetus, but Seneca would walk barefoot in the Roman heat, right? And then he would walk without an umbrella. He wouldn't be carried like Cleopatra. The purpose of that was to, remind himself of the hard times. If one day he ever was to lose his fortune, right? This is what he could expect. So he doesn't feel the shock. Look how many people unfortunately committed suicide after the global financial crisis of 2008 because they lost all of their wealth. They were used to a certain standard. They lost that standard and then they, perished, unfortunately. So that's one thing that I like about Stoicism too, that it's kind of not a game, but it's an exercise from within with yourself. I love the memento mori quote. You spoke about it earlier. Stephen. What's
up, Stephen? Shout out to Stephen watching the live.
I just saw that pop up. There you go. Where was I? Yeah, you mentioned that like memento mori, remember death. Mate, it can happen any day. You could get a headache right now and go to the doctor and they can say, you've got 6 months to live. Happened to someone that I know, right? And then what? All of the pain, the suffering, the happiness, the joy, it's all gone. When you're dead, mate, it's all gone. Yes, we believe in the afterlife, but so again, I've gone full circle, brother Mark. I've gone full circle. Yeah. Every day I want to have a good day, the best day that I can. The little things are what matter. I've got no metric. I try and listen to what God's got in store for me from a heart to heart type level. We as human beings, we know when we're wrong. We know when we wrong someone. you feel it. You should feel it. You should feel it. There should be something from within saying that wasn't right, or that doesn't feel right. I didn't do the right thing. That's my metric, to try and keep this in check, to try and keep this pure, to try and keep this clean. I can't hate, brother. I don't have hate in me. Doesn't exist. And I'm so blessed because of that. I don't have jealousy. I don't have hate. I don't have envy. It's beautiful to live your life in that way. I was able to make peace with those emotions, and they don't exist. So, yeah.
Fantastic. Tie this back to owning and running a property management business. Something you said just now was really beautiful. It's showing up every day. I'm paraphrasing your best version of yourself, like bringing the right energy to today, this moment. And there's this idea that, I mean, the reality is the present is all we have.
That's right.
Like, we don't have the past right now. We don't have the future right now. And if those things are weighing us down and causing us not to be maximally present with our power in the present right now, then we're not, somehow our heart's not right. Somehow, some metric should show us that, hey, I'm not here right now.
Yeah,
I'm not here. A little bit more about that, and then I'll kick it back to you. I started working with this coach recently. Guy's fascinating. I love the way he thinks. And he was explaining emotions and thoughts. We know that we're not our emotions, we're not our thoughts. But he used an analogy. He says, it's like they're moving through like water.
Yep.
Okay? But we're not in the stream. We're not in that river.
I read that. Yeah, I love that.
We should be on the shore. And I think of myself standing on a rock, like firmly anchored to a rock. And I can notice the thoughts and emotions that are coming by, but I don't have to wear them. I don't have to identify with them. I can use them or notice which ones are useful to me.
Yep.
Same guy also told me, as you're talking about your heart, he said, God communicates to us through our heart. The enemy, the adversary, can't. Like he's trying to get us through our head to overthink and to overprocess, or to be in worry, or to be in fear, right?
Well, check this one out. You might love this one. Your thoughts influence your emotions influence your actions. So if you want to change your actions, you got to change your thoughts.
Okay.
Right? I'll repeat that again. The thoughts influence the emotions influence the actions. So if you want to change your actions, you got to change your thoughts. That's where it starts, right? I love that. I read that in your latest newsletter regarding the river. Yeah, so true. Yeah. So true. Yeah. It's like, I think Stoicism teaches us that too, where you're literally monitoring all of that flow past, and then it's up to you to take what you want to take or disregard what you want to disregard. I think I responded to you in a couple of weeks ago, whenever it was. I was like, yeah, man, I love everyone's opinion, but to be honest with you, it's like an asshole. Everyone's got one, and most of them are shit. You know what I mean? So I take what I want to take on board, what I think can make me better, right? The good criticism. I'm waiting for your newsletter next week about, how to deal with the toxic stuff. And then I disregard the rest. I mean, at the end of the day, it's our job to be that, what's the word? Not the siphon, but the thing that distills stuff, right? To take all of these opinions on board, take all of these comments on board, and then see which ones fit with where we want to be, what we want to do, to self-evaluate if we're doing something wrong. Now, the rest that you don't necessarily agree with and that you don't accept, you disregard it. Make your life easier.
Engelo, it's really, I mean, it's easy to, no, I shouldn't even say that. I was going to say it's easy to say the words that you just said, but it's not actually. It comes through a lot of wisdom. It's one thing to intellectualize something, a concept like what you just laid out there. It's another thing to be able to actually live it. And it's a much bigger thing to be able to live it. Like, how did you, earlier in our conversation, you described that you don't experience hate, you don't experience envy, it's like not part of your person anymore. What was the journey or the process through which you transformed? And you talked about taking a sabbatical. You talked about being in dark rooms. Like what is it that enabled you to sort of let go of the things, or have the what was it that enabled you to have the choice about what to pick up and like have it become part of you versus just wearing everything?
Great question, mate. Heartbreak. I'm going to get very spiritual here. Some people agree, some people don't agree, but it is what it is. So at one of my lowest points in my life during heartbreak after a long-term relationship, I was at the worst of the worst, the bottom. I couldn't get any lower, right? A lot of pain, a lot of pain, unimaginable pain. During COVID, I had COVID, and it was very, 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 very heavy. And one of my good friends who I grew up with, he's a Catholic priest, literally my second father, like just an amazing, amazing individual. And, I remember lying in bed, and there was one part of me that said, it would be so much easier if I could just condemn and criticize this individual that I felt caused me that pain, right? And I wanted to, sorry?
Are you talking about COVID pain? What pain?
No, like relationship stuff, heartbreak.
Oh, the heartbreak. Yes, right? Yes.
Heartbreak. So there was one part of me that was saying, and I always like to refer to it as the evil side, like the devil, right? Was saying, hey, criticize this person, condemn them, throw them under the bus, classify them, whatever you want to classify them, so you make yourself better or just
payoff. There's a payoff for that. We feel better instantly.
Correct. And then the other side was saying, no, still love them, but move on, forgive, love, move on. And I called Norbert and I said, mate, I can't handle this anymore. Dude, I'm on the floor. My mom's picking me up off the floor. I can't walk, dude. I'm crushed, like totally crushed. And he said, Ange, this is going to be the most important decision that you make in your life. And I can't tell you what to choose. May God be with you, but you have to choose whatever you feel is right. Anyway, Brother Mark, somehow, some way I was able to choose the good, right? The good. So I didn't succumb to the bad side. And that was that for me. From that point onward, it would literally, when I was at my lowest, I couldn't get any lower. I chose love over hate. I know it sounds corny and weird, and there you go, everyone, whatever you think. Dude, I'm telling you, I cannot hate. I wish I could. I think it would be fun if I could hate someone or be a little bit jealous or envious. I just
Wait a second. So you're telling me you had a singular experience in your life where the heartbreak from some relationship was so severe that it brought you to a crucible moment. And in that moment, you chose love.
Yes.
And then from that point forward, something shifted.
Yeah.
And you've been able to do that since.
100%, mate. 100%.
Wow.
100%. No,
absolutely powerful.
You know where we find God at our lowest? I can look for him now. I always look for him. Every day I look for him. And I don't find him. But I can, if I look back on my life through some heavy moments, the deepest depths of despair, that's where I always find God. And this was one of the heaviest moments that I ever experienced. And man, oh man, did I find him in the way that has blessed me forever. And I'm so grateful for it, mate. I'm very grateful for it.
That's beautiful.
It is. It is. I just don't. And again, there's a lot of moments leading up to that. Self-evaluation, self-reflection, digging deep. We spoke about living in the present, dude. Easier said than done, huh? How hard is that? Because we're always in reverse. We're always fast forwarding.
Well, okay, I'm going to make an excuse for myself. I identify as a visionary, so like my brain is constantly working on problems, projecting out, like seeing around the corners and what's going to happen over here. And so yeah, it's hard to be present.
Same.
Yeah, it's hard to live right now, right here.
Yep. Very hard. And I don't know how to get to that point to like be in the present at every single moment, or at least bring yourself back into the present when the mind wanders off. I stopped meditating, and I should go back to meditation, mindful meditation, no spiritual mantras. But that was very good for me because that in a way brings you back to the breath all the time, right? I started off with 5 minutes, then I got up to like 45 minutes, quiet room, headphones on, and just focus on the breath. You breathe in, you breathe out. So every time you catch yourself wandering off with your thoughts, you bring yourself back to the breath. That was incredible for me. Like the stress levels, my anxiety was literally gone. I could fall asleep very easily. And also, if something would happen in traffic or wherever, I would get, startled. I would immediately, like auto suggestion, or automatically your mind would bring yourself back to the breath, and you wouldn't hold on to that being startled for too long. Maybe that's a method of constantly bringing yourself back to the present, and being present from within. But I mean, I'm like you, mate. My mind's always somewhere, and it's hard. But again, it's a battle. We all, like, the biggest enemy we all have, mate, is ourselves.
Yes, it's Engelo versus Engelo. That is the primary battle. That is the only battle, right? I read somewhere in a book, and I'm going to take this out of context. It's like at some point in your life, you realize, or you discover, you have the opportunity to discover that you lift up the curtain and there's nothing there. It's just you. There was nothing on the other side of the curtain. There's no some unknown like secrets or like code or brotherhood or like some kind of like group that you have to be part of or some way to achieve what you want. There's nothing there. It's you on the other side, and it was you all along, and nobody else cares about all the fears and the worries and the concerns and all the head trash and all this other stuff. It's you. That's it.
Yep. Interesting, mate. Interesting. You're going deep there on me. You're going deep there on me, mate.
Well, that's what we're doing. So let's talk about why talk about this stuff? Because I'm in property management. Like I thought, like, you know, you're in property management. This is why we're, you know, we met each other because we're in property management. Yeah. I'm obsessed about the highest leverage activities. Like I chose property management deliberately because I thought it was going to be just a large volume of simple problems that I could build a team around me, and then I could achieve freedom. That was the pursuit I was on. Was the pursuit of freedom. And Dan Sullivan talks about time freedom, relationship freedom, money freedom, and purpose, freedom of purpose. And that's what owning a property management business has given me. I'm super grateful for it. I'm not done yet. I've got lots more to learn, a lot more good to do. But why I keep moving back to these really deep thoughts, a lot of which have to do with God, a lot of which have to do with our self-worth, our identity, is because at the end of the day, the biggest leverage on our property management businesses is us. And the biggest leverage on us are these deepest, most important questions. I know that I'm the limiting factor in the growth of my business. I know that I'm the limiting factor in, to a large degree, not completely, not unhealthy, toxic, you know, extreme ownership to, you know, but I'm the limiting factor on how much everybody else in this company grows and how they progress. And so if I'm the limiting factor and the most important thing I can do with my time is work on me, then what are the questions that are the most important that I can explore? I was doing a live last week. I was doing a live last week and a friend texted me and he's like, "Hey, Mark, are you okay?" I said, yeah. I said, "Yeah, thanks for checking in. How's it going?" He's like, "Well, I'm worried about you." I said, "Well, why?" He's like, "Well, I just tapped into part of your live and like, I'm like, you're seeing a therapist and like, is everything okay?" And I said, "Well, yeah, things are okay. You know, thanks for checking in. I just believe in vulnerability and honesty and transparency. And it's shining a light on different parts of my, you know, so that I can grow." And he said, "Well, I'm concerned about your mental health." Like he wouldn't let it go. And I was like, "Oh,
man, I'll tell you, if next time we do this, if I see both of your ears pierced and you got 2 Rolex gold watches, then I'll ask you, hey, mate, is everything okay?"
I love it. I love the lack of judgment. You know that I'm going deep because I want to try to figure out the life's most important questions.
100%.
You know, and I think these are the conversations that help pry that open. When we grow, it's not what we bring to the work. It's what the work brings to us. And as we open ourselves up to growth, and I think you're in a really beautiful place. You know, you talked about like, well, maybe you'll unlock this, you know, the marketing secret and you'll get to 5,000 units. Who cares about 5,000 units?
That's right.
How much value can I in this life bring? And when you're not afraid, when you're no longer attached to an outcome to define your worth, you're in a much more powerful position. Number 2, when you don't fear failure anymore, you're in a much more powerful position.
Do you fear failure?
I'm fearing failure less and less and less.
But why would you fear it? In what way? That you're not going to be able to eat?
I mean, it sounds ridiculous, right? Because I know for sure I will always be able to eat. Like there's really nothing to fear, right?
Then you've got nothing to worry about. Who is it? Musonius Rufus, I think it was. It was they called him the dog philosopher. He would live in a barrel of wine. That's it. It would be literally naked, maybe wear some leaf on his crutch, you know what I mean? And then one day he's sitting and he sees a gypsy boy. And by the way, sorry, I think it's Musonius Rufus. Don't quote me on it. The only thing that he had in his possession, no possessions, nothing, lived on the street. They call him the dog philosopher. He had a wooden bowl that he would use to drink water and eat from. And then one day he sees a gypsy boy drinking water with his hands. And after seeing that, he immediately crushed his little wooden bowl. He didn't even need that, right? So again, Mark, I mean, look, I've lived in Hong Kong. I played professional soccer there. So I lived in Hong Kong. I'm
Wow.
originally from Australia. My parents are from Croatia. Lived in Croatia, lived in Italy, lived in Hungary, lived in the Bahamas. Been living in the US for 12 years. I've traveled all over the world. I've seen poverty, brother. I've seen people considering McDonald's as a Michelin star restaurant. And then I've seen exuberance here in Vegas and Texas, where I'm based right now, right? Mate, we live in the best country in the world. Honestly, anyone that doesn't think that is true, please leave. You'll be coming back within 3 months kissing the floor. Corruption, bureaucracy, politics, it's a nightmare everywhere else. Racism. You want to see racism? Go to China and be a white guy over there. Dude, racism like you've never seen in your life. Like insane. In Europe, other than Switzerland, Germany, I know you're in Milan. I'm disappointed you didn't email me about where you should eat, because I know all of the, it's all right. It's all right.
I'll go back.
We'll talk about it in person, mate,
Let's
over an Italian dinner. It's custom, unless it's Germany, Austria, and Scandinavia, it's custom when a cop pulls you over in any other country in the European Union to give you a driver's license and 20 euros. Custom.
What?
Yeah, man. Yeah. Doesn't even cross your mind to do that here. That's the Europe. People don't know that here. They think the grass is greener on the other side. And then we start getting to, anyway, my point being is, if you have the opportunity to go and see that, I'm telling you, mate, you will lose all fear. You won't have any fear, because you will always be fed. You will always have a roof over your head. You're a smart guy. You're a good looking man. You're a hard working dude. You live in the best country in the world. There's nothing that you cannot do here. You can lose it all tomorrow and start from scratch. So that's something that I fed myself with for a very long time. And again, blessed, I don't really have fear. I've lost so much money, dude, to so much stupid shit. And it is what it is. You wake up, it's just money. We can't take it with us. Sure, I can do less now, but it is what it is. We live another day. We try and do our best again. But, without the risk, you're never going to get the reward. Cliche, I know. But fear can really can freeze us, to doing things that maybe will make us better.
I'm drawn to fearless people. I'm drawn to you because I love that I don't sense any fear in your person. I think that's a beautiful thing. I think it's a powerful thing. I think if the goal at the end of the day is to become the best version of yourself, you absolutely have to confront that fear journey. It's progressive victory over fear, progressive victory over enmity, hate. These are the things that are the personal victories that transform us into a truly free person, right?
Yep. Well,
yourself,
let me interject you. Sorry, mate. So how, what is your fear? What are you scared of? And why not expose yourself to that? I've done the bungee, I've done the skydiving that you did. It was incredible. I did the bungee jump off the Strat in Vegas, the highest bungee jump in the world, right? And then I'm not really an adrenaline junkie, but I wanted to test myself. I wanted to test me to see how scared I am. Now, I'm not going to be stupid. I'm not going to play Russian roulette. So, there is a level of mastering fear per se, not being fearful. And then there's a level of being stupid, jumping in the water with great white sharks in Australia without a cage. You know what I mean? That's a little bit sick to me, right? So I guess I'm just throwing it out there. Whatever is your fear, I think it's good to expose yourself to it. I'm sure that's what they all say, but really expose yourself to it, test yourself out and see what happens. Might not be that bad.
I had a mentor one time that told me, Mark, life has a way of continuously giving us what we need until we learn that lesson. Like if you notice that you're experiencing the same discomfort and there's a pattern to it, life has a beautiful way of helping us continuously re-encounter the thing that we need to learn most.
Mm-hmm. I know what you mean.
And I think part of that has to do with fear. I think fear is a signal, should be a signal that there's something here for me to learn. There's some part of my progress and my transformation is here. One of my favorite thoughts about life in general, I think maybe I heard this from Jordan Peterson, was that we actually don't know the truth about ourselves. And if you think you already know the full truth about yourself, you're lying to yourself. You're not being truthful.
Oh, you never know. Yeah.
And the way that we learn more about ourselves is we get curious and we observe how we behave, not the things we say. The things we say is not the truth always, But the things that we do is where we can get curious and observe the truth about us. And so if we're recoiling in fear and we're present enough to notice it, and we can draw a line through that experience and notice there's a pattern there, maybe that brings us to the frontier of what we need to learn next. Do you think you've conquered? Do you think anybody is 100% fearless? Or do you think you've just substantially conquered fear in your life?
Yeah, you can't be 100% fearless. There's always going to be some element of, you're going to feel it. You're going to feel the anxiety or the fear before you proceed to do something. But then you can also quickly come to your senses and be like, hey, memento mori, I'm going to die one day anyway. None of it will matter. So in my eyes, that's been the thing that eliminates all fear for me. Like, what have I got to lose? We're all going to be dead eventually. And as long as you can remember death, as memento mori means, then there is no fear. In a way, you eliminate fear. But again, there always is that little bit of, I'll tell you right now, mate, before I jumped off to Strat, I was shitting my pants, dude. I was all good and great down at the first floor. And then when I got up there, and then when they opened those doors in the window, I was like, hey.
That sounds terrifying, actually. I'm putting myself in that position.
Dude, I was like, what the hell? Because when I did the skydiving, I did it in Dubai, right? You don't control the process. They jump out, right?
They're in control. You just show up.
Right? Now, with the bungee jump, hey, you're standing there looking over Vegas, holding onto that rim, and you got to jump.
Oh man, that's terrifying right now. Yeah. I feel it in my stomach.
Yeah, but see, for example, stuff like that, I did it not because I'm an adrenaline junkie, but again, it's a way of strengthening. The way I see it, strengthening yourself. Like Seneca would walk barefoot in the hot Roman summers. This is a way of facing a fear, which is a huge fear, but taking that leap of faith, taking that jump.
There's something about mastering the physiology that's really important. You know, that ties in both with fear and the ability to be present. In this retreat I went to a couple months ago, where we did sensory deprivation, we did cold plunge. Some of the things that we were doing was, you know, we did things with knives, actually, you know, and so like the
oh man, now we're getting into the BDSM stuff. Oh yeah. Hold on, should I keep my shirt on?
No. I wasn't going that direction with it. So somebody would like slice through the air, like towards you with a knife. And the idea was we were simulating, right? We were giving our brains practice simulating experiences that would hijack the amygdala, that would hijack the fight or flight, that because this happens so much in our lives, where we attach, you know, what's a mortal threat to something that's actually totally benign, but completely pulls us out of the presence and the confidence we need to have maximum access to our best resources, our best recollection, our best presence, and our maximum resources to our body, whatever, because everything moves into that fight or flight. And so
I get you. No, I know you mentioned this in your last newsletter about the 3 stages, 3 phases, right?
Remind me.
The first one is when you get pissed off, the fight. And then the second one is where you take a bit of a pause, right? Evaluate. And then the third one is where you not respond, but then you work on it.
Yeah.
But if you react to the first one, then you've literally something on those lines, mate.
Might have been Dale Carnegie or Stephen Covey that said there's a space between stimulus and response, and in that space hangs the balance of your destiny. You know, it's like how do we wedge into that space, open it up enough to put choice in there?
I know, it's so hard, man. Dude, it's so hard. I know, trust me, I'm pretty reactive too. I need to get back to meditation. I was so chill when I was meditating. No, you wouldn't believe it. I'd be looking at you right now. You'd probably think I'm stoned, just like completely zen. Just completely zen.
You seem like you'd be really good in the cage, like very fast reflexes, like
I've been here for 12 years, right? And I still don't have a misdemeanor. I am literally just waiting for someone to piss me off on the street so I can give them a quick headbutt. Mark,
I don't want to be that guy.
I'm 6'4", 240 pounds. I've got tats everywhere, and not even a misdemeanor. I've got nothing on my record. Like, I feel embarrassed. Cold eyes, acne scars, and I've got nothing on my record, man. It's too clean.
Dude.
It's not right. You know what I mean? Everyone's like,
Dude,
this guy must be like,
club bouncer. You got the club bouncer vibes for sure. For sure.
Oh,
hey, brother, this has been awesome. I want to do this again. Like, when am I going to meet you in person? Do I need to fly out to Vegas? I'm going to be there in January at the.
Where are you next? What's the next conference you're at?
Well, so I'm at NARPM National later this month, but then also in like, if you're in Vegas?
No, Texas.
Oh, Texas.
I'm between Dallas, Texas, and Toledo, Ohio, out of all of the places.
Oh, geez.
It's because of the beautiful women and the beaches. I love surfing. We got all of that in Toledo, Ohio.
Oh,
so for anyone listening that wants to, get their surfboard and go surf the Poo-Poo Lake Erie, just let me know. I'll tell you where.
Oh, beautiful. Well,
so you're in the NARPM. Where's that?
That is in Florida. That's in Orlando. Yeah. And that's in a couple weeks. And then I'm in Vegas in January is the PM Systems Conference. I think it might be sold out though. Dude, we got to link up somewhere.
Do you really think I buy tickets? Come on, man. Seriously, sold out? Do you think I buy tickets? First of all, I'm always in the lobby smoking a cigar out the front and just networking with people.
That's it.
Literally, that's what I do. I know it's
that's the best thing to do. I don't smoke, but I mean, that's what you do. You go to be around the people. Here's what I'm learning. Leadership is a journey of like progression through osmosis. Like if I can be in the same rooms with the people that I want to become more like, that has this intangible, like transformative effect that you can't get by sitting through a session or reading a book or anything
100%,
else.
100%.
There's some kind of conveyance of essence or persona or confidence or the lack of fear. And that happens through connecting. It's beautiful.
I wish I could, mate. I'm so lazy. Like I used to be the biggest extrovert. Now I'm like not intimidated, but I'm like, I'm just not in the mood to fly out there. I'm sick of the flights, and I'm a tight ass. I fly Frontier or Spirit. You know what I mean? I can't fork out $500 for a Delta flight to fly like a human being. You know what I mean? So, and then I've got to get there, get the Uber, check into the hotel, go to the conference, and then I've got to be energetic and shake hands and kiss. So that's kind of when I think of it, I feel like, oh man, I just want to stay at home and do nothing, but I'm missing out, Mark. I'm missing out on meeting you. I'm missing out on meeting so many good people that I feel are in the industry that, as you said, we make each other better.
That's where the energy, that's the good vibes. That's where the energy comes from. That's what makes it worth it. It is a hassle to get over to the conference, but 2 or 3 great conversations that wouldn't have happened. Man,
when's Orlando? You're motivating me.
Orlando is in like 2 weeks. Just Google NARPM National. Yeah,
I'll get it. One of my good buddies lives there, so I can go visit him, and then I'll just crash the NARPM and
do it.
Sit out front with a few beers and a cigar and wait for everyone to walk up.
Do you have my cell number yet? Offline, we need to trace cell numbers, because if you do it, text me. We'll meet up.
Sounds good, mate. I'll send you dick pics. Not the ones that you think. I'm talking about Richard Nixon and Dick Tracy, you dirty mind.
Loved it. Love it, Engelo. This was so fun. This is the funnest conversation all week for sure.
Appreciate it.
Keep being amazing. Keep being fearless, and keep rubbing off on me. I appreciate it.
You too, mate.
All right. Take care.